Hello everyone, welcome aboard. So again, we have brought you the daily current affairs capsule for you, and this session has been brought to you by Himalaya IAS classes. So if you want to join the IAS 2021 batch or KAS examination batch, either in English or Kannada medium, you can visit us on www.himalayaiasclasses.com, or you can reach out to us on this given number. So first, let's see the significance of the prelims. I have repeated this again in every session that prelims, you have straightforward questions coming from current affairs. Mains, you have direct as well as indirect questions which can be used as examples, case studies. In the mains answer writing, in essay, you need to have a diversified opinion about the topics, and that's where it helps you a lot in your opinion building. And finally, in the interview, where most of the questions are asked from contemporary issues, current affairs is a very important part. So let's get started with today's current affairs. Today is May 29th, and the three articles which I have combined, which was about India-China issue. Okay, so one is India is working with China to peacefully resolve the line of actual control issue. Then Beijing's brinkmanship and from standoff to stalemate. So let us see the summary of all these three articles, what they are trying to say. Before that, syllabus, part of international relations. In mains, it is the part of general studies, paper 2. So India-China issue. So yesterday in our session, we have told you that Mr. Donald Trump, the American president, he offered to mediate to resolve the issues between India and China for the very first time. So India and China are already engaged in the diplomatic talks, and India has not shown any inclination to accept Mr. Trump's offer of mediation, saying that it is going to resolve that peacefully and bilaterally by just talking to the Chinese. So the major focus of India in resolving this issue is maintenance of peace and tranquility on the line of actual control region, plus maintaining India's sovereignty and national security. So both these things have to be balanced. We already have 5 agreements on the border management with the Chinese. Okay, so that mechanism or method can be utilized to resolve these type of disputes. Also, there's an article which says that today that infrastructure work which is going on the line of actual control region in the last few days, whenever we have discussed, we have also talked about it, that increased infrastructure is another reason why this standoff is happening, because earlier we were not having this type of infrastructure developed. So there is Darbur Shok, old Daulat Old Begi Road in Ladakh region. Then we have the developed infrastructure in the northeastern region. So because of development, we are doing more patrolling, and that is something which might be irritating Chinese, and more clashes is happening between the two countries. So, but we are not going to stop that infrastructure. That is very essential part for maintaining the sovereignty and national security of India. That will continue. So next article, which was there in Hindu about this India-China issue, that talks about this conflict or this present situation might lead to possibility of increased deployment. Means as of now, let us say we have ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, that is the paramilitary force which has been deployed on the Indo-Chinese border, and that presence or the number of soldiers that might be increased not just from Indian side but from the Chinese side, that too permanently as a result of this. So how it is trying to say that, see this reason which a lot of people are pointing out, that the increased presence of infrastructure is irritating Chinese, basically talking about Darbuk Shok, Daulat Beg Oldie Road. It has been in construction from last 15 years. And till now, it has not created that much problem. Okay. Also, if you look at the Chinese side of the border, they have done construction more heavily than Indian sides. And if you look at the Chinese history, they have always they have a history of changing lines and creating border disputes. You know, they don't want to fix anything. They just want to keep increasing their area. In a lot of places, you can find out same in the South China Sea. You can find out same in the India-Pakistan border, India-China border. Okay. So we already have a border peace and tranquility agreement of 1993, which restricts the number of soldiers, okay, which caps the number of personnel which can be deployed on both the sides. But actually these type of situation or standoffs which is happening on both the sides, the article argues that it can lead to increased permanent deployment on the either side of the border. That the presence of both the armies on both the sides that might increased. Okay. The next article is about the brinkmanship. Brinkmanship is when you take too much of a risk and you go till the end to show something, okay, sort of adventurism. So this article argues that this Ladakh is not an isolated event. We need to see the overall situation of China, okay. So overall situation of the China, the first argument this article is trying to put is China is an authoritarian regime, okay. It's not an open democracy like what you have in India. And that is also based on the economic performance. Till the time economy is doing good, they show that it is because of this authoritarian regime, so they have to show the economic performance. Now because of this COVID situation, the economic performance is going to die down, okay. So domestically there will be a reaction against this authoritarian regime. Also in the international field, they are facing a lot of criticism because of this COVID-19 situation. US is trying to point out there is a resolution in the World Health Assembly Summit, okay, 73rd summit, which has happened recently, that saying that what are the reasons and what is the role of the China. The transparency in sharing the information could have reduced the impact what the world is facing in terms of COVID. So it is facing international criticism. Also, it is going to face a lot of challenges on the domestic front because of this type of regime, which was till now based on the economic performance, but now which is going to become sluggish. Okay, lockdown, so economic activities will be hampered in China as well. On top of, so this type of situation actually leads to what? Not now you have to show a lot of nationalism. You need issues. You need to provide a lot of fancy words, which is known as jingoism, to your countrymen in order to maintain their support for your policies. So if you see similar situation is going on a lot of fronts. There is a conflict ongoing between US-China relations. In Hong Kong, they are trying to come up with the national security law, trying to suppress their freedom. Same is the problem with Taiwan. So US has started helping Taiwan, which is against the Chinese goal of integrating Taiwan into China itself. Again, in the South China Sea, where the Chinese are showing again their assertiveness, which is opposed by almost whole of the world. Okay. Then this increased Chinese adventurism, which they are showing in order to go through this situation, garnering domestic support, okay, and maintain this authoritarian regime. This might result into escalation of US-China conflict. So the Ladakh incident, what this article is basically saying, it's not a standalone event. Okay, there are a lot of similar things which is going on in a lot of other areas or front in the Chinese area. The next today's article that talks about the export blocks or the blocks which are hampering the export process. So this is the COVID situation. All of us know that the export has declined very drastically. The economic activities have declined very drastically all over the world. So when it comes to the syllabus, it is part of the Indian economy. Mains Indian economy is the part of general studies paper 3. So what this article is saying that India should not miss the trade opportunity. So as of now, trade has reduced globally, but very soon it might pick up. Okay. In India, what we have seen as a result of this lockdown, that export in India has declined very sharply. Like our export has gone down pretty fast, but import has reduced like little less. So earlier, let us say import was 100, it has came to 97. Export has declined like too drastically in comparison to import. So this trade, this has collapsed because of this COVID lockdown situation. Now, in order to fight on the economic front with this lockdown, Government of India has launched Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, as part of which a stimulus package has been launched. We have seen 5 tranches coming out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are addressing the need of different areas. But that package do not have anything specific for boosting the export sector, which is facing this sharp decline. Okay. Although not Government of India, but RBI has come up with a 15,000 crore liquidity to Export Import Bank of India and plus 6 months of relaxation for importer as well as exporters to clear their payments, here on this side, on that side. Also, the world is going to see the new barriers in terms of export and imports, where a lot of countries, they are putting bans on the export of, let us say, food items and medical supplies. In India itself, we tried to ban the export of hydroxychloroquine, right? Because we'll be needing it at our home. So in that case, when the world trade scenario is being changed and it has been collapsed, that is going to pick up whenever we have to be ready for that, and we need to provide some sort of support to Indian exporters so that they can make maximum use of that opportunity. Although what we are trying in the economic stimulus package is we are trying to bring in more investment. Let us say either from the foreign investment or from the domestic investment. But this investment is a long-term process in comparison to trade. So if we can remove some export trade barriers, the benefit will be much more faster than this benefit of the investment. Okay. So ignore this one. This is a mistake. So next article after this is about India-Nepal relations. So we are seeing a lot of challenges and exchange of dialogues between the both sides since this border dispute has taken place. So this article is trying to argue that rather than making comments on each side, we must sit quietly and try to resolve these two issues, this border issues with Nepal, that is very much required for India. Okay, so syllabus again, it is part of international relation. In the mains, international relation is the part of general studies, paper 2. So the basic argument of this article is need for a quiet dialogue rather than passing comments. Our army chief, Mr. Navarane, he has passed a comment. Then foreign minister or even the prime minister of Nepal, Mr. Oli, he has passed some comment. So that rather than passing comments and showing rhetoric of nationalism on both the sides, the need is there for a quiet dialogue which can resolve the dispute. Okay, so it starts from the beginning. The article tells that there is a territorial issue over the Kalapani. Okay, so this problems or this border issues or the overall India-Nepal issues ties the need for a reset. Okay, so evolution, it tells about the colonial treaties of Sagoli, very important, result of first Anglo-Nepal war, which decided the boundaries between present India and Nepal. Then in 1949, Maoist revolution happened. So Nepalese, they felt threatened. And at that point of time, they said that they allowed Indian army, okay, or Indian forces to be posted at the Nepal border, so that in case there is an incursion from Chinese, then they can be saved. The first time the issue of this Kalapani, it came after Treaty of Mahakali. Treaty of Mahakali was done in 1996, and it was there to complete the Pancheshwar project. Pancheshwar project is a project, hydropower project based in Nepal, okay, helped by India, of course. Then after that, it was the first instance in 1997 that this issue of Kalapani or Mahakali came to the front. There was already a joint technical level boundary committee which was created in 1980s and which tried to resolve the Indo-Nepal boundary dispute. And actually it has fixed 98% of the boundary areas, only 2% is remaining, of which one is Kalapani and next is Susta River in the Tarai region near Gorakhpur district of Uttar Pradesh. This committee, it was dissolved finally in 2008, but it has already cleared the work of 98%. Now, how this current issue started coming up after the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir in region, in November 2019, India launched a new political map. There were certain reservations which were registered by Nepalese, but again, there was nothing new with which we could have come up. Also, after that, the situation in Nepal is also a little bit of change. So Nepal has went from monarchy to the government, democratic government, and they have created a new constitution. So in that new constitution, the political situation is first 2 years, you cannot bring a no confidence motion. So present Prime Minister, for first 2 years, he was assured that he will be in his position for first 2 years. Now no confidence motion can be brought. Also, there is a rule which is coming up in Nepalese Communist Party that one man cannot be chairman as well as the Prime Minister at the same time. So he is facing problems in his own party. Plus, there is a chance of, to save the government, to always have the majority support. So that's why he is also bringing or harnessing this Nepalese nationalism idea. This is not unique to Nepal. If you look all over the world, a lot of people do that. Okay, that whenever you want to garner domestic support, you can go for this nationalism rhetoric. So that is sometimes used as a political instrument for political gains. Same thing is happening in Nepal also. So as a reply to the new Indian map, they also released a new map in the May 2020. Okay, first we actually completed a construction of a road which goes from Kalapani to this Lipu Lake Pass, which is at the tri-junction of India, Nepal, and China. And they are also bringing a constitutional amendment. In new map, they are showing the Kalapani area and other disputed areas on the Nepali side. In constitutional amendment, they are trying to include this in the schedule that, okay, this is part of Nepal. So what this writer, Mr. Rakesh Sood, in this article is trying to argue that we have opted for neighborhood first policy. When this new government under Mr. Narendra Modi comes, we said that the neighborhood comes first in India's foreign diplomacy. In 2015, there were certain issues because of Madheshi rights in Nepal. So because of which we did a blockade, undeclared blockade of Nepal. We stopped sending them supply. See, they are a landlocked country for fuel and every other things. They are totally dependent on India. So in that type of situation, all the neighboring countries of India, especially small countries, they used to play something called as China card. China card is if if it feels like India is creating problem for you, then you start leaning towards China. So that way India will again come back to balance its relationship with you. Okay, so they started moving towards China. They have also joined the Belt and Road Initiative. The India-Nepal relations, which are based on this 1950s Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which provides a right to free movement on the both sides of border, even right to work to the Nepalis in India. Okay, so this has been very old and there is a need to reset the ties and talk quietly to resolve the issue. This rhetoric of nationalism and this political agenda, this might derail the challenges or this might derail the need of the hour, which is there. Both the countries, they have to be in trust and they need to maintain good relations with each other. Okay, now moving to the next, there is a article in today's paper about social media. So what has happened, if you are well familiar with the social media, that there was a tweet posted by Mr. Donald Trump, and Twitter sometimes, in order to tell you or in order to stop the spread of the fake news, if there is a tweet with misinformation, it tells you that the facts are incorrect. Okay, so one of the tweet of US president that was marked as factually incorrect by the Twitter, and then Trump threatened that he is going to shut down, he might shut down or he will try to regulate these social media platforms, and that's what the whole issue has become. So in the prelims, again, part of the polity, pressure groups, governance, okay, and general studies paper 2, again, it is part of the same. So social media is any platform where user generated content can be shared. Okay, so Trump has threatened to target social media. We have seen a lot of wrong reasons because of which social media has been in the news, like use of social media for political gains. You would have heard about Cambridge Analytica, okay, influencing voters' behavior. Then fake news has become a problem. In India also, you would have seen instances of fake news, mob lynching, okay. Every now and then, like a lot of forwards which keeps coming, most of them, like, they are fake. Sometimes they create too much of social conflict due to that. Then there are larger concerns over data privacy, misuse of the user's information, tax avoidance. See, GAFA tax was started in the France. GAFA is G for Google, A for Amazon, F for Facebook, and A for Apple again. So these companies, they have head office, let us say, in a country who doesn't apply any tax or tax haven countries, but they are digital companies. They can work in the whole world and they don't have to pay taxes anywhere. In India also, if you remember, in the past, we did make changes to the Finance Act and the Income Tax Act, so that some tax can be applied on the corporations like Google, Amazon, Flipkart. Okay, then these big giants, they can also cause the monopoly. So there are inherent issues of net neutrality, platform neutrality. Okay, so net neutrality in India, it's guided by TRAI. Platform neutrality now, Competition Commission of India, they takes care of such situation. Then political bias, if they want to influence the voting behavior or the user's information in order to help one or the other political candidate, then this platform can be problematic for any democratic society. Okay, also there is a threat or larger concern in the US because Facebook has decided to launch a digital currency called Lira. Okay, so currency is something which usually you have seen administered by or regulated by a centralized banking institution like RBI in India. So this digital currency, how that will be used and what will be the consequences. So these are the larger concerns which has to be addressed. But the effort to stop the fake news, and in that, if a politician goes wrong and that is signaled out by some platform, that should not be the reason for curbing the freedom of social media or bringing bans to it. And that's the core argument of this article. Then another thing today, we have talked about in the last session also, the locust attack which is happening. And the Central Civil Aviation Authority, it has allowed the use of the drones in order to control the locust. So India is facing a big challenge in terms of these insects. So you can take it as part of agriculture, food security, then it becomes Indian economy. You think from the EVS locust attack, it becomes the environmental science. In any case, both of them are part of the GSS study, General Studies, paper 3. So Civil Aviation Ministry has given permission to use the drones for controlling these locusts. And this is a conditional experiment, and it is not allowed to be used above the eco-sensitive zones, national park or wildlife sanctuary. See, these locusts are coming from Eastern Africa, crossing the Arabian Peninsula, Pakistan, then coming to India. This is the time of the onset of the monsoon, and they are a big threat to the food security. See, they travel in the groups, and like in 1 square kilometers, there are millions of them. Each locust can eat up to its weight. So if they sit on a farm field, they are going to eat up all the food grains from the field. As of now, there are no fields, but monsoon is coming. So it's the time for it will be the time for reproduction, conducive conditions formation for increase in their population. And in future, that might be a biggest potential threat to the food security of not just India, to the many parts of the world. And that's why tackling this is a very big challenge as of now. Now, last news for today is the controversial law, which we are discussing continuously, that China is trying to pass a national security law in order to curb the freedom of Hong Kong that has been passed. Also, there is a small news that United States House has passed the Uyghur Rights Bill. So let us take a look at these two items. Again, both of them are part of international relations, and international relation forms the part of General Studies paper 2. So legislation has been passed in China, which empowers Beijing to create national security law for special administrative region of Hong Kong. So Hong Kong was part of British colony in 1997. It was given to China, and it is governed by one country, two system principles, as part of which there is a set of basic laws which provides executive, legislative and judicial autonomy to the Hong Kong while framing their laws or administering their region. So by creating laws on something on which Hong Kong is empowered to make laws, it is in Hong Kong being seen as a step to suppress the basic freedom or arrangement which is available to the Hong Kong. Also, United States and China conflict, you are listening every time. So it has came out of the treaties, okay, or the trade incentives which it has already provided to China and Hong Kong. It has broke both of those. Plus, Uyghur Rights Bill. Uyghur is a community which lives in the northwestern part of the China, okay, and they follow Islam, and there are news all over the world where of human rights violation of this community by Chinese. So they have proposed a bill in the US House passing this bill, and if finally it gets passed and gets the assent of the president, they are asking that human rights sanctions should be imposed on China as part of this bill. So this you can extrapolate as the ongoing tension between US and China. This is a reaction to this again and to this as well. So that was it for today's, guys. Hope you have liked the session. This is the list of do's and don'ts which you can follow in order to maximize your chances of selections in the UPSC prelims exam. Also, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notified whenever we upload exam related content for you. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll be back with the next day's session soon.